Guys, I'm just gonna be working out like I promised that I have this 20-day challenge. So today I almost ran into an obstacle that I was almost unable to work out, but thankfully I was able to pull it off. So my plan is to just go on the treadmill, run for probably 20 minutes, and I'm just gonna be sharing with you guys about this world building journey and also my fitness journey. So hang tight and make sure you exercise along with me. I'm trying to dismantle this thing. It was almost getting out of hand. So most of you know me that I just mostly talk about investing, trading on this channel. Like I say, the idea of me doing this is to just share what I'm learning along the journey because one thing I'm realizing is that you can be well, you can have a lot of money. Money is not everything. Having a good health or a lifestyle is also a good thing. Try to balance those two. But like I said, I'm just gonna be talking about some of the things that I'm learning in the market. The first thing that I'm gonna talk about is that anything that I share, like always, is not supposed to be taken as investment or financial advice. Investing and a lot of people, I've seen people who have lost money, and the reasons usually are that sometimes jumping into stocks or investing into things that they don't understand, taking leverage, in other words, borrowing to invest, and then if the market or the trade goes the wrong way, then you are at the bottom only for the market to rebound, and hence people lose money in that process. And there are a lot of mistakes people make. And so then that brings me to another aspect to then say, how then do you make money in the market? Tomorrow, NVIDIA is going to be reporting their earnings. You know, NVIDIA's market capitalization is, last time I checked, it was 4.4 trillion. So it's a really big component of the US public market. If you look at the S&P 500, NASDAQ, QQQ. So they might beat the earnings very well, but still the stock might potentially sell off depending on where the market makers wants to drive the stock to. Or they might still miss or beat, but still the stock price is going to go really up. What am I trying to say with this? I don't know. Nobody really knows except the insiders at this point, I guess. And am I trading? Do I have a position in NVIDIA? No, not really directly, except an ETF that I have that has some exposure to some of these individual stocks. But how do I play earnings? I've made some mistakes in the past. What I've seen and what I've learned is that earnings are very tricky. If you trade in before earnings, it's very highly likely that you're either going to make a lot of money or kill the portfolio. In other words, the is going to probably move up or down in a big way. If we trade options like I do, the implied volatility will be priced in so much that if you are on the opposite side of the trade, you are likely a lot of money. If the trade goes well, then you are more likely to make a lot of money. I think it was CrowdStrike. It, and it went up by 25% this early season. But one of the things that I learned is that doing naked options, most likely you are going to lose money. Trust me, guys. I play core options, put options, and most of the time I was losing money. It's more like gambling. And you, I started learning that look, if we are investing and trading, the first thing that we should do is understand the stocks or things that you are trading. If you are doing bonds, understand that area. Be an expert. Take time, understand how price move in terms even broadly, including the macroeconomic view, what's going on with the interest rates. Now in December, people are projecting that with lack of clarity in terms of the inflation data, the Fed, when I checked with the CME too, that is the tool that usually it has been right in predicting whether the Federal Open Market Committee increase or reduce basically the monetary policy. So they are still pricing in a potential rate cuts for December, and I think two for next year. But the point that I'm trying to say is once I started having a watch list of stocks that I follow religiously, that I understand who is leading them, their value, what products, what services, or the business model these businesses that I am following will be doing. I still lose money. That was the most important thing. Now, once I knew that, I avoided doing short-dated calls and puts. I used to trade, you know, one day option 0DT, E was 5. That is the ticker name for an ETF, one of the ETF that trades the S&P 500 index, which is the broad basket of publicly listed companies in the US. So, why am I saying this? I'm saying when you are investing or trading, don't just jump in because somebody just said something. Always do your research, always do your due diligence. Avoid using leverage, like I said. So now my strategy mostly revolves around, amongst other things, two things. Cash secured puts, and sometimes I use the lips only when I see that the odds are tilted in my favor. Let's say, for example, NVIDIA drops by 30% tomorrow. Let's say hypothetically. So, and I believe that last time I checked, I think they had a lot of money, I think 75 billion in cash on their balance sheet. Free cash flows, they have a lot of money. They have 80% market share in the AI space, cloud computing, right? Let's say it drops by 30%. Most people, traders, investors, they overreact. So if let's say it drops by 30% tomorrow, I've done research, I understand this business. Now, I can potentially drop the long dated rate. That is, let's say for January 2028, high delta, maybe for delta 0.7. This is not investment advice. Now, what I would do is to just then maybe wait 2, 3 weeks or a month, and once if it recovers 10, 20%, I'm out of the position. I manage the risk, I recover my money because if the delta is high value, like let's say 0.7%, It means for $1 movement in the price in my direction, that option contract is more likely to gain $70. So if it moves $10, that's probably going to be $700 and I get out. That's the only condition that I like to deploy lips and that the naked core, right? The second strategy is I like case secure puts. Again, the stock has to pass through my screening process, like I said. And once it drops a certain level, let's say, for example, one stock and I actually have some case secure puts for SoFi. SoFi is a very interesting business. The crypto and he added, I think, 800,000 new subscribers in the SoFi in their recent report. CEO Noto was talking about that in the earnings call. And it's a fantastic business. I think it's easily a $35 stock, right? In my view, my personal opinion. So now let's say the stock is trading now it's $27. I use the Bollinger Band to see if it is on the lower range. Now I can go maybe dollars or $2 below. Let's say I'll take a strike price of $25. If it's 25 dollars, $27. And for those who don't know, when you are selling options, case that you can put, it means in that case I will choose a delta that is not really high, 0.20, for example, if I am very conservative. So that means I have 20% chance that I'm going to be assigned or forced to buy those options. That one contract equivalent to 100 shares. So what I do is I choose a delta of 0.20 or 0.3 if I want to be a little bit more aggressive. In other words, if the energy drops and I take 1 month out contract, if it drops to 1 to $25 the strike price, and I get a premium of let's say $50, that's 150 for one option contract. So that means effectively, even if I'm assigned at 25, I will at the current price at $27, I will buy that for $25 minus $50. So that will be $23.50. That's my average price. So that's how I deploy. So let's say I take 10 contracts, but the caveat is that I should be comfortable owning that stock at that strike price. Now, we call it the good strategy. I get assigned, I get the 100 shares, it's $25, and let's say it's now it's $23. I can sell a covered call now at let's say $28. Remember my $24, but effectively $23.50. Now I can say covered call 1 month out, take a 0.20 delta. Let's say choose the strike price of let's say $29. Now, if software goes up within that month to $30, I forgo the other upside, but I still get my cost basis, my average to the strike price of 29. Let's say I'm getting a 25. So I get 400 shares plus. Remember, I got money when I sold cash secured food, and then when I sold the covered goods, I'll probably get maybe let's say $50 for simplicity. So that's the whole strategy. That's one strategy that I've seen that it is a very effective strategy. I make money whether the US stock market is going up or down. For the most part, it is a high success rate. So I've just shared with you guys one of the strategies that I use. It's not investment advice, like I say. So that's something that I have learned, I would say, over the past 4 years as an investing in trading. And I have a background in economics, but the reality of the market is that Apart from thinking you know everything, you really have to have the to say, look, on this I was right, and you take profit off the table. If you are wrong, you cut your losses and you move on. So risk management is very important. So if you have subscribed, if you are watching exercise, thank you so much. Tell me how you are trading or investing, how you are managing in these volatile US stock markets. Are you guys up? I was looking at the SPX today. It's up by 12.76% as of today. So it means if you were buying, you probably up just doing the ETF. Let's buy Vivo or some people just do that. I am kind of like I like individual stocks because at the time that's what I do full time. So make sure you subscribe, you watch some of the videos that I've been sharing on my channel. I'm just basically a random guy who loves to share what I'm reading, what Mr. Market is teaching me every day. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. And I have almost 4 minutes. I think I'll be done with doing the treadmill, and I'm gonna choose to do another workout, but I'm gonna go for my friends on Facebook. You can follow me as well. I said Jonas, and follow the channel. Check out my website as well, www.streetwise.com. I have some upcoming programs for next year. I will be doing a masterclass to show people, to teach people how to trade options safely, conservatively, and profitably. So, if you go on my website, you can see some exciting lineups for programs that I have doing in the next year. And listen, that I love to travel. That's the beautiful thing about it, being a trader and a retail investor. I work for myself, so I get to travel the world. I was in Switzerland this year. I traveled the Bay Area. I was in Zimbabwe, and God willing, next week I will be traveling in Europe, 3 countries next week for business and also just. But the thing is, when I travel, I like to learn how other economies work, the infrastructure, investment, for example. When I was in Switzerland, in Zurich, I actually wanted to do the Google office. So much. So these are the businesses that I trade and invest in the US. But when I see their earnings, their balance sheet, it's just represented as international revenue from international business or segment. But now, if you are an investor, you really need to understand. You can do this research, but the basic thing for me is to see. I had the privilege of touring later in August. My friend has a friend who invited me to work there, and I really got the privilege of visiting the main back office, fantastic business. And one fascinating thing was that there's food like any other food. You can get it. I had quite an experience. But more important about this business, because sometimes I trade major stocks, the options were quite expensive for me, for my portfolio. So I like stocks that are within the price range of not more than $300, right? but not paying stock $5 to around $300. So that's uh, that's it. Thank you so much, and appreciate you tuning in and supporting me in this journey. I will see you in the next one. Tomorrow, God willing, I will be here. I will share with you as well this journey. I'm trying to dismantle this thing here. So today is day 5. Yeah, it's day 6 actually. I said it is Wednesday. That's 3 days, right? And yesterday, day 4, day 5 today. So it's day 5 today. So I get to do this. The goal is to be fit and wealthy, build wealth, and also stay fit. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. Yeah. Mhm. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Thank you so much. I live in Canada, by the way. So I just wanna hang out and thank you so much for staying along with me. Make sure you subscribe and follow me. Bye bye for now.